TTS. Thank you guys. Okay, right back into this. So I guess I wanted to finish off a bit on the protest stuff. Yeah.
Still want to hear what women's rights were lacking.
Yeah, that's a good one. Thank you to whoever bought. Looks like somebody just bought a hoodie. Thank you.
What was it?
How we were saying that it's just the way that women are, like, it's accepted for them to be talked about and treated in society is not fair. I don't think it was about, like, rights as much as it was the conversation and the verbiage and stuff that's being used by these politicians, people of power around women.
But a lot of people use that same verbiage about men. So Sabrina Carpenter, at her concert with thousands and thousands of people, telling the crowd to cheer along with her and call men useless, stupid, that whole thing, that's okay.
I think that is so different than, like, being okay with, like, I feel like women are, let me think of my words, like, when men are talking about, like, sexually assaulting women or, like, objectifying their bodies and stuff like that, I don't think that's a fair way to talk. But if they wanted to go and say, like, women suck, I hate women, that's one thing. But when it becomes something that could turn into a physical component, I think that's where, like, the line is.
Why is the premise, though, that this is within the context of non-consent?
Because that's what I thought, that at least, I don't know much about any of the protests, but at least back in 2016 when there was that Women's March, I thought that was because of Trump saying...
really quick, I have something on this. Nathan, can you pull up my personal Instagram, Brian Atlas? And then there's a post that I did. I think it's like either the most recent or the one below it. It's a woman wearing a T-shirt, Lily Reinhart. She has 24 million followers on Instagram. She's like a B-tier, C-tier actress. Do you have it, Nathan? On what? My personal ex. It should be, if you just scroll down, it should be like the most recent or second most recent post. I just want to get your guys' perspective on that. So click on the photo, actually. So she has a shirt that says, "I support a man's right to shut the fuck up." And then I wrote, if a male actor wore a shirt like this about women, he'd be dropped by his agency, talent agency, and banished from Hollywood, not to mention backlash from the public, journalists, media, etc. She's got 24 million followers on Instagram. She's not a nobody.
Yeah.
So what do you think of her T-shirt, first of all? Is that wrong?
I don't think it's wrong. I do agree that's, like, if a man wore that.
You don't?
I think everyone is entitled to their own opinion. She can think whatever she wants, but
when girls do it, it's cute, but when boys do it, it's crazy.
See, that is what other people... If a man wore that shirt, I would be like, damn, that's kind of crazy, but... like, society would probably be a lot more upset about that. But me personally, I'm not going to see a man wearing that shirt and throw an outrage about it.
So what is it that men are doing to women that you think requires marching?
I've never marched, but...
Okay, what do you think men are doing to us that requires us marching in the streets?
I feel like there's too many things to even name.
Okay, give me one.
Okay.
List.
Okay.
List.
There's comments about women 24/7.
Okay, but women make comments about men 24/7.
Okay, I would say then
Here.
SA.
Well, let's list it. So, okay, so like misogynistic comments.
Yes.
Okay, so they're SA.
Yes.
Okay. What else?
Just feel like not just sexist comments, but sexual comments,
So,
like very
like catcalling?
derogatory.
Okay.
Just like overly derogatory.
But women do that too. Like, a woman's very capable of essaying a man the same way a man can do that to a woman. But also, best believe
I've dealt with essay by many women.
Walk by.
Wait. Let her finish. Go ahead.
But you think women don't catcall either? I hang out with my girlfriends and I see a good-looking guy. I'm like, look at, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So girls do it too. Maybe men are more open and more doggish, if you want to say that, and I can't agree to that, but everything you're stating goes both ways.
It sounds like policing speech is what I hear.
I do agree that it goes both ways. I think there's just major differences. I think that men do it a lot more,
or is it just not as reported?
No, men. But even in experiences
because
of
men don't speak up often, respectfully.
Men are not going to go and report it if a woman gives a man like a shoulder rub he didn't ask for. He's not going to go to HR and report it.
I don't believe in that either. I do not think that a man should be touched in a way that he does not want to be touched. I do not think that consent goes both ways. I completely agree with that.
Have you guys ever seen there's like a video compilation that's always circulating online of Justin Bieber when he was young, like before he turned 18, all the different actresses
Yes.
and people touching him, making sexual
It was
comments
gross.
about him. Yeah, like it happens quite a bit to
And
men
you-
too, and we just give women a pass on
I
it.
feel like
Well, and
You
it
know what's
depends
actually
if
really interesting about that, Rachel, is that while they're, and many of these clips have kind of resurfaced more recently, in the moment there was pretty much no backlash. But if you reverse the genders, if you do a gender swap, I mean, these people, if it was a man doing that to a girl,
Oh my gosh. Be in jail.
career over.
Yeah.
But there's really not, when you gender swap these situations, there's not the outrage, there's not the losing the job, there's not the getting dropped from talent agency thing. It's like acceptable to be anti-male or say negative things about men, et cetera, et cetera. So
well, and
I
you
will
were saying
say, no, you can talk.
so in your HR example with somebody in the shoulder rub, depends on if she thinks he's attractive or not.
Yes.
If a
Yeah, if
woman,
it's a hot guy,
if a
then it's
woman that is
fine.
creeped out by a guy because he's gross or a loser or unattractive to her, she's gonna be like, oh, sexual harassment. But if it's somebody that she's like, oh, let's go on a date,
Yeah, if
give
it's
me
the
more of
boss
that.
and he's rich and hot, she might let him grab her by the pussy even.
Oh, really quick, we do have a TTS coming in here. Let me just let this through from Cha. One moment here. It's coming in right now. Thank you, Cha. Appreciate it. Thank you guys who bought the merch. Thank you, Cha.
Your XD donated $200. The fact that a girl who does findom as a job while talking about how she participates in protests is a vile irony. You're a monster and you're preying on vulnerable men who desperately need help.
You have a response to that? And then we have one more chat coming in.
how does he know he needs help? Like, why are they just assuming all
That's
of
not
them?
normal.
But it
That's
is for
very
some people. Some people have some.
It's
It's an
dysfunctional.
addiction.
Dysfunctional.
It is
Yeah.
like gambling or it's like addictive
Well, then
drinking.
why is that her
it's
problem?
a drug. That is
Yeah, why
true.
is it my
She's
problem?
enabling it.
If a man was enabling that kind of if a man had a girlfriend who was a little not all there upstairs, right? She has some mental problems, and he's, telling her to pretend to be a dog and sleep in a dog bed at the end of the bed, and telling her she's a coat rack and hanging her coats on him or his coats on her and things like that, you'd be outraged. You'd say he's abusing her. That's awful.
I wouldn't say that. I think as long as it's two consenting adults,
But
I don't think it's any
Yeah,
different. I
that's-
think someone's mental health, if they obviously if they have a mental health issue, family around them's going to know. They're going to try
then
getting them
if-
help. That's not
Not
on her.
So
necessarily.
if women consent to being treated badly by a man,
That's
you're
fine.
cool with it.
Yeah, if they're sitting like BDSM, if a woman's sitting there saying, "I want you to smack the shit out of me while we're having sex," that is consent, and that's fine. I don't think there's any issue with that as long as it's
People
two
have
consenting
kinks. People have kinks. Yeah.
But are there ever instances where even if consent exists, does it go beyond consent?
These people that are in these relationships like that have fin-dom relationships or anything like that, they have safe words. There's a lot of communication. I've never been in one, never known anyone in one, but from my understanding there is consent and many conversations and safe words, and it's just
I'd like to speak on that because I actually did FinDom for 3 months, and I don't know your experience, but in my experience, it felt that I had to really discern things, and I ended up leaving because in every experience it became unethical, and there were men who would, hey, I'm gonna give you my kids' graduation money, and other women online would accept that and think, well, that's my job and that's okay, but that's the responsibility of you as the business owner. If you go, a lot of people don't like McDonald's because of how McDonald's, what they put in their food and all that. So in that same way, right, it is up to that business owner. You wouldn't go to McDonald's if you didn't think that their policies are great. You wouldn't go there, right? And they are feeding off sick people.
Might I ask that you raise a good point? Might I ask? I guess the question was: does anything go beyond consent? So, for example, even within the purview of BDSM, are there some acts that you feel like, even if you give consent and even if you are of sound mind, that's too far? For example, sometimes there's instances where you'd agree that BDSM typically can involve physical pain.
Yes. Yeah.
Now,
I
what
think that's the
about
main part of it?
what about this scars? Something that will leave a scar. Can you consent to that?
I think if you're a child, no. But if you're an adult and you're
hold on. Yes, we're talking about adults.
Yes.
But so how far does that go, though? So what if, okay, a scar, maybe not so bad. What about breaking a pinky bone? Can you consent to that? That wouldn't... It would heal, I guess, maybe.
I've never thought of it that really.
But let's say a woman did have a kink where she wants just her pinky bone to be broken.
Yeah.
Can she consent to that?
I mean, I guess. I don't really know, but I think so. I think she could consent to that.
But how far can we go? The whole hand smashed with a hammer. Now, she would no, but maybe she has it. It could cause permanent damage. Maybe not. But can she consent to it?
I mean, like I said, never been in a relationship like that. Never really put much mind to BDSM relationships. But I think if something is being done that could possibly cause irreparable damage, then that's where the line should be drawn.
Well, what about a scar, though?
I mean,
but some people want to be cut.
That's what I'm saying. That's not like a physical, that's not going to mess up their life if they have a scar on them. Like if their hand's broken and they can't use their hand anymore, then that's going to mess up their life.
Well, if she drains their wallets to the point where they have to go through bankruptcy proceedings, that could have long-standing financial consequences to them.
I'm asking her, has that ever happened? Like, do you know of any
has
scenarios?
That shit on her page.
I know, but do you know of any scenarios where someone has gone into bankruptcy or has gone into something like that?
That's part of the kink.
They
gave an example. What was the example you gave where it was like...
They want to give the graduation money from their kids. These men will go to it's an addiction. They will do absolutely everything, and they won't... Some guys won't even eat. Oh, I'll just send you my lunch dinner money, and I'm sure you've had that. And that, I feel like, is your responsibility to see you need help. If somebody was gonna, you brought up the example of physical pain. If somebody was like, hey, I'm willing to be cut, can you cut me or break my pinky bone? I'd be like, let's send you to the doctor. Let's dive deeper into that.
I have definitely denied requests. And also I've definitely ignored a lot of messages.
I do have to let this chat come through, but we'll come right back to it. We have Desert
Judge donated $200.
Thank you, Desert Jorge.
Okay, let's cut through the nonsense. When a man does something bad, it's all men are bad. When a woman does something bad, it's woman empowerment and all good. This is actual hypocrisy on display.
Yeah, and Rachel brought up something, Desert Jorge, thank you for that. With Sabrina Carpenter, Rachel brought up that is a really good topic because it goes beyond just at the concert. She's got that... what's the title of the song?
Man-Child.
Man-Child. Yeah. So yeah, she is alluding to men being stupid and useless and all this sort of thing. But even going a little bit deeper, in many of her music videos, not just that video, she physically assaults and even kills men. Yeah. And it is getting to a deeper level of analysis where it's
pretty pathological.
She is kind of, I think there's a bit more depth there in terms of the misandrist messaging that she's putting out.
It dehumanizes men.
What about
on a very large scale to young girls who are really impressionable.
Yeah, well, also, we'll get to that, but really quick with Sabrina Carpenter. Sabrina Carpenter also at an award ceremony, because I think, look, you're going to bring up rap, and I think in the artistic expression itself, I don't think you can still make a criticism, but there's more leeway. But she was doing, well, hold on. Well, I think it's fair for in both directions that in artistic expression, there's a bit more leeway given than but she was giving a speech at an award ceremony, and she said that the key essentially, I'm not verbatim here, the key to writing a hit song is you should call all men stupid in your song. That's basically what she said, right? Well, she did in fact say that, but there's some surrounding context that's irrelevant. And it's that's going a little further into anti-male sentiment, but...
I'm just begging all the men on Sabrina Carpenter's tour who handle her stage, her lights, her audio, all of you men that put together her whole show, when she starts doing that song, just shut it all down.
There you go.
Just shut it all off and go, what now?
What?
Oh,
now?
all the men are useless and stupid, or would you like us to turn your concert back on?
Wait, really quick. Let me just do a few shout outs. Christina, thank you. Looks like you bought a hoodie. High Hopes, thank you. Demi, thank you. Mr. Alex, thank you. You bought a hoodie. Thank you guys. And someone else bought something. Thank you guys. We also have a chat here really quick that I'm going to get. Thank you guys for the, that's through our merch store, shop.whatever.com. If you want to get something, it pops up. We have Joshua here. To be anti-gun is to be anti-woman. Did I already read this or? No, okay. Guns save lives more than they take. To share 3, I highly implore you to research firearms and understand them and not to just follow Democrat leftist talking points. That's from Joshua Dillon. Thank you for your super chat, Joshua. And we have Cowboy Larry. This is on behalf of Lexi from Favorited. I love the whatever content. Rachel is so based. Here to support the podcast and shout out Lexi from Favorited. Okay, there you go. That's you, Lexi. Thank you, Cowboy Larry. Look at that. Hey, just really quick. Who here would date Cowboy Larry? That's his avatar. I'm trying to wingman this guy.
He's super nice, you guys. Great conversation.
If he's nice, then yeah.
All right. Well, hey, I tried my
I'm
best.
married, so I can't say.
Yeah, of course.
anything.
Well, to the single women.
He
the
seems
single women.
cool though.
The single women. But thank you,
And he's
Cowboy.
a big fan.
There you go. Thank you, Cowboy Larry. Appreciate that. Reminder, guys, $10 display, $100 read, $200 TTS. Thank you, guys. Okay. Rights, women's rights. I think that's where we left off.
So it's more just we don't like things that random dudes say about random women. Do we have anything more than that? Because that seems like a very...
Something I would add to that is I feel like women also will put themselves into a position to seem like less than men. Like there was a trend going around fairly recently that was like, when I do good in the blue store, so I get to go to the pink store. Like women will intentionally make themselves look stupid in order to like appear cute to a man sometimes. And I don't feel like that's that's women taking ourselves back further in society. So it's not all just men. I feel like there's there's that streamer Cavicular or whatever, and he just always has women surrounding him, and like people are like, oh, like he shouldn't be treating the woman that way, but it's also, I feel like, just as much on the women that are there and entertaining him that like they're sitting there doing the same thing.
So would that apply to President Trump's comment that these women should they're
let
putting
you?
themselves in the position where they're letting that happen?
They enthusiastically chase dudes who will...
Why is it different? Because it's Trump?
No, it's different.
assault.
That is assault.
Because it's assault.
Women are hypergamous.
It's not assault if
they
you're
want it.
letting them. You said
How do you
you
know
said
they
it's
want
based on consent.
How is, and that's so
Because
know
the
it
language,
isn't.
the language he used is
It's
they
just boy
will
talk.
let you.
Yeah.
So if he had said they don't want you to, but you can do it anyway, you might have a point. But we can only go off what he said. We can't speculate about anything else. All we can do is take the statement itself at face value and discuss that. You can't like leap to other things that you think might have been going on, but you really don't know. It's like, but okay, so your comment's fair. I'm still trying to figure out what unfair treatment or
If you
what
want to
rights
talk
we
about
don't
women's
have.
rights, go to a different country.
Yeah, what's worth
Go to a
getting in
different
the
country
street
right
and
now.
marching and protesting about? Like, what are we lacking? I'm trying to figure that out.
I feel like women are putting themselves into a position where they let me think of something.
Well,
to say.
okay, Raven, you're a protest organizer, so and you seem like if you're organizing protests, you must have thought about these issues to some degree. So, like, what do you think is still going on in the world that women need to be out marching about it?
I really think it's just how women are treated. I think it's the way that women are
who?
taught.
Everyone. Yeah.
Everyone?
Yes, and I do agree that there are women who also do make that worse by making themselves like. I saw
Okay,
the
but
trend too.
I don't understand. Men can and do all the time get in trouble for saying anything to a woman at work that is off color, for saying anything online to a woman that's bad. Like, men get in trouble for that all the time. You don't have a problem with women talking about men like that. What's the difference?
Women aren't like you guys had said that men may not be coming forward about their sexual assault or something like that, but following what I assume most of you believe, that men are physically stronger than women. If a woman comes on to a man and tries to sexually assault him, what's stopping him from just like pushing her off or
What if
beating
it's a
the shit out of
child?
her?
Well,
What if they're drugs?
we're not going to talk about children. We're always talking about adult relationships on the show. But okay, let me throw a statistic at you. Did you guys know that in if you take all the domestic violence cases that are non-reciprocal, meaning it's one party being aggressive and the other party is being the victim, that the aggressor is the woman 70% of the time.
I still think.
Are you aware of that?
I did not know that.
Yeah. What do we do about that? Should the men march and demand that the women stop assaulting them?
Men could always march if they wanted to. I think everyone has a right to believe whatever they want.
You can believe whatever you want, but there's also facts. So, like, if 70% of non-reciprocally violent domestic violence cases are the woman aggressing against the man, like Taylor Frankie Paul, that's her name, right? The Bachelorette that they just canceled her whole season because this video came out of her just attacking her ex-husband, throwing chairs at him, even with her daughter in the room, acting totally unhinged. I'm seeing a lot of that, and statistically, it's that 70% of the time.
I mean, how many men are murderers, though? Like, looking at
good. That's another good question. But did you know that almost all the victims of the murder are men, not women?
No, that is so
yes,
not true.
It's absolutely true.
Think about like Ted Bundy. Like those men. There's like so many prolific serial killers.
There's very few of those, though. So if you take all murders, yes, men are the most offenders when it comes to murder, but they're also the highest share of victims.
Why does it matter?
So
who's
men
being
kill
killed?
other men because we're talking about the difference. What do women need to march over? So if men were the primary murderers and 90% of their victims were women, you'd have something. But it's something like 90% of the victims are men. So
I just think everyone has the right to think what they want, and if they want to go, if they want to go out on the street and protest and walk about it and show their support and have a group of people showing that that's what they disagree.
Yeah, you can't. You can go march in the street and say, "I think Rice Krispies are better than Cocoa Puffs."
Exactly. That is fine.
But I'm asking you guys. Well, what do you mean? What's the issue with that? It's retarded to start with.
But why do you
dumb.
care? Why do you care?
So I'm trying to see. Why do I care? Because I want to know where all of your political outrage is coming from. I want to know where all your outrage against men is coming from.
We've told you like 3 times.
But I've proved to you that there's no water. Your statements don't carry any water. This delusion you have that men are constantly trying to victimize you and be bad to you is a figment of your imagination. It doesn't really exist.
There's also a vast difference between
do you agree that there are objective facts?
Yes.
Okay. It's an objective fact that you have every right in this country legally that a man does, and probably more. And it's an objective fact that you're not, at least I know of, any victim of some kind of overarching oppression by the patriarchy, correct? Or are you? And if you are, I want to know specifically what that is. Other than, I just think some men somewhere say mean things about some women sometimes.
It's more societal than it is political, I would say. I would say as a society, women are treated differently.
I think as a society, women are very privileged over men.
I think we're privileged, but I don't think we're privileged over men. Like, I feel like a woman should feel safe, walking home at night alone. And I don't feel like that's always the case. Like, if you're in a city or something and a woman's trying to walk alone at night, I guarantee you she either has pepper spray, pocket knife, or something like that.
Do you think that a man walking alone at night in the city always feels safe?
Probably not, but I think a man's probably worried about being beat up. A woman's worried about being raped, tortured, kidnapped. And that's saying that can't happen to a man, but I am saying it's more likely to happen to a woman.
Did you also know that if you factor in prison rape, men are actually a higher share of rape victims than women are?
Such a different. That's not like they're not in a regular society.
I'm just saying, look,
there's a reason that
the world is not fair and bad things happen. What I'm looking for is actual evidence that women are somehow uniquely oppressed as a group by men.
I feel like the only reason I have
and if you start your statement with "I feel like," that's by definition not going to be factual. That's going to be just opinion.
The only reason I have my opinion about the way women are being treated is because how I've been treated and how I've seen my friends be treated. I don't know.
Okay, but that's an anecdote. That's not proof that society has a problem.
Okay, but the thing is, if all of these women are coming together to say, hey, I've personally dealt with these issues with men. I've gotten SA'd by men. I've had this happen. I've been uncomfortable, like all of these things. If there's tons of women coming together, then there's a message there.
Oh, okay. Well, if that's the case, then What if a bunch of Trump supporters come together on January 6th and say, we really feel like this election wasn't fair? I mean, it has to be proof that it's true because a whole bunch of people came together.
If black people stormed the Capitol, they would have all been killed.
Yes.
They would have all been killed.
Is that why nobody from BLM riots died?
That is once again you making a totally insane, completely baseless assertion that you pulled out of thin air. Please, listen, I'm going to try to be nice, but I need you to focus and not just say like wildly crazy, totally baseless shit. I need you to try to live in reality and like come back to something that's true for a second.
Any of the people on JIT, I don't know much
Black
about January 6th.
Black people were allowed to riot in the streets and burn down entire cities for a whole summer, and nobody went around mowing them down.
That was a government building that they broke into, and like I said, I don't pay that much attention to
They have surrounded federal buildings. Yeah, you don't, because you would know. They've surrounded federal buildings.
That's even crazier.
They have surrounded federal buildings. They have infiltrated federal buildings. They have
Where?
Portland, Seattle. My husband covers these all the time on his channel.
Where did they?
Of leftist protesters breaking into buildings.
Like the ICE protesters.
Yes. Right now. They're right now.
Yeah. Are they in the buildings?
In Portland, they broke in. The cops had to actually shelter and leave because they broke into the building. Yes.
What do
you mean you don't know? Do you think I made that up? Do I not seem pretty well informed on my facts?
You do, but you could also just be really confident in what you're saying. So I haven't seen any personal evidence for that myself. But
Brian can look it up if you'd like. But there's been several. They set up an autonomous zone in 2 different cities and took over multiple city blocks, and nobody killed them. Nothing happened to them, and you probably think that's fine. So again, please, let's get back to this. Show me any evidence of widespread oppression of women by men other than I just feel like women just feel unsafe. Like feeling unsafe isn't proof of anything. You might feel unsafe and be perfectly safe.
I
can't do anything about your emotional state.
I look at what I've gone through and what my friends have gone through and stuff that men have done to them, and I just think of like that can't, and it happens everyone. That's why like those protests, those people that are out at those protests most likely have had something happen to them, and I feel like that gathering of people shows something.
But that's anecdotal, and there's how many men do you think out there could talk about their experiences with women getting baby trapped by women, getting their kids taken and stolen from them in family court when they didn't do anything wrong, a woman cheating on them and leaving and taking the kids, a woman draining the bank account and taking off and leaving, women actually assaulting them and being domestic abusers, and they can't even get police or anybody to really take them seriously.
You guys believe that men are stronger than women. Why aren't they just stopping them? And
because I'll tell you why. What do you think happens what do you think the risk is for a man if there's a woman that he lives with and she's getting drunk and throwing things at him and coming at him with sharp objects and things day after day, and he finally, in order to protect himself, I know a guy that this happened to, drunk woman coming at him with a chunk of glass, and finally he threw her off of him. She went to the police and said, he threw me against the wall, I have a bruise, he beat me up. The guy went to jail.
I would just love to see a statistic that says women are more prone. Didn't you say that 70% of the cases are domestic violence? I would love to see that statistic.
My father was stabbed by a woman and almost died.
Well, we can have Brian pull it up. Again, I mean, if you listen, I do this for a living. I don't say these things unless I know exactly where to pull the data from. I posted it to my ex, so if Brian wants to pull up my ex.
Also, it depends. Yeah.
And FBI statistics. These are very easy things to look up, but yes, it's.
Yeah, this is the way the world is. As like crappy as shitty as that sounds, the world is the way that it is. I don't think that you have every right to do what you want, but I don't think protesting is going to change anything. I don't think that changing.
Here we have the data.
Oh, word.
Just hit the window tab, Rachel, if you want to read this.
2001. That was over 20 years ago.
Okay, the stuff I posted to X. No, the stuff I posted to X was much more recent. I think it's actually gotten worse since this, but I can't see it good enough to read it. Okay, if you go to my, I don't know if you can dig it up in my X though. But yes, I don't know why you're so doubtful of my statistics,
because
but
I just find that very hard to believe.
Why? Here's the reason. You want to know why? And again, you're doing a woman thing. You're going, this is my experience, this is reality, this is my experience, and I'm telling you there's a whole world out there that is not your experience. I've had things happen to me that most people never have happened to them. I don't assume that's everyone's universal experience. That's not very smart.
I feel like I've heard more often than not in my personal life these experiences.
What does that have to do with anything?
I think
you understand that your personal, let me just say this again,
I do.
your personal experience does not have any bearing on the population at large and what the statistics are. You understand
Yes,
that, right?
I do completely understand
Then
that, but
let's
I'm
not
just-
talk about that.
Okay.
And then, like, in your personal experience, you should, in the moment, am I feeling this because society tells me I should? Or is this something that, like, I've had experience with this? Like, I remember growing up, probably you've seen, you know, you're a woman on the elevator and a black man gets on and you hold your purse more tightly. Like, for a while, I was an Uber driver and, you know, I picked up some Muslim people at a mosque, and I'm like, if I was going by what the world says, I should feel like, oh my gosh, they're going to do something horrible to me because I'm a woman.
That
but
women shouldn't be cautious. I'm not
No,
saying that
I know,
there
but,
aren't
like-
men that do bad things. I'm asking them specifically. It's a very specific question, and they've given me nothing. What rights do women not have? What evidence is there of widespread oppression of women by men? Like, how are you oppressed by men that you need to march in the streets?
We just keep saying the same thing over and over.
Yeah, and I've you know what a defeater is? So if you say we're having a debate, you say something, I say something that cancels out your something and makes it null and void and kills your point, then you have to.
We were saying our point over and over. And
But your point is just, I feel like. That's not evidence of anything. That's not a logical argument in favor of anything. It's not proof of anything. Like there has to be a good reason. Do you know what justification is?
Absolutely.
So if you believe something and you have a belief, you should have a good justified reason to hold that belief. Otherwise, it could be a delusion. And we don't want to live and operate off of delusions. I think we'd all agree that's not smart. So we're trying to see if your feeling that women are still generally oppressed by men is accurate. So I'm asking for evidence of your claim that women are oppressed by men.
I have no evidence. I have never went to college. I'm just basing off of
I
my
also
personal
never went to
experience.
college.
But I do this for a living. I'm literally just some random person that works an everyday job.
Well, the whole point of this show is to take normal, average, everyday women, which I was up until 2 years ago. So it's not like I've been famous in my whole life or something like that. And I'm still like a very D-tier internet niche celebrity. It's not that big. But the whole point is to talk to I'm really not a big deal.
No big deal.
We're trying to talk to normal people, normal women, and explore their worldview and what they think and why they think it. And the rub with most women is the why they think it part. They're very sure what they think. They have very strong opinions. But when you say, why do you have that opinion? What's your what's your justification for holding that belief? They usually just kind of go, or they give you reasons that are not rational or not logical or don't hold weight when you examine them. So that's what we're trying to do.
And your example of women should carry mace or whatnot if they're walking alone at night.
I said they might feel the need to. I never said they should.
But that would be more justified if you're walking in a place where there is a lot of attacks on women. If that's not something, I don't imagine this is a dangerous place here in Santa Barbara.
Santa Barbara's relatively safe, but
Yeah.
I mean, actually the statistics show that actually men are more likely to be victim of violent crime.
Yes, that's what I was telling them.
Yeah, I could see that. I could definitely see that because of just, gang stuff.
I think you were trying to get some more stuff out of the list of the rights that women supposedly
I'm still waiting for the
don't
rights
have.
that we need or evidence of the widespread oppression of women.
Can I ask a question quickly? Can you give me an example of how you've been oppressed by a man specifically in your life? And why was it oppressing?
Let me think.
You should have a lot. You just told us your whole life
have
experience.
very strong views on it.
Your whole life experience is just men endlessly oppressing you. And then we're like, give us an example.
I
And
never
you're
said it was
like,
men endlessly oppressing me.
you said your whole experience. Everyone you know, just like your whole experience.
You
is
said
just,
a lot of your
people around me.
statements were based off of your experience as well as your friends, which means based off of your experience, what what have you experienced?
There we go. There's the source.
2007. That is still like almost 20 years ago.
But I mean, so but even
I can go
really
Google
quick,
more
but
updated stats.
I really quick on the
same.
date. Really quick on the date here. It would occur to me that society has been moving away from misogyny.
Yeah.
So it almost seems like if the data 10, 20, 30 years ago indicated that the rates were like this then, I think my understanding is there's violence against women trending downwards, certain crimes trending downwards towards women. So even though the studies are from 10, 20, 30 years ago or whatever, I mean 2007, that's about 20 years ago, I don't think that's actually contrary here.
You know what else you guys should consider? The most violent domestic relationships are lesbian relationships.
I have friends that are lesbians, and I've seen that myself.
Well, actually, that's a really good point you raised, Rachel. My understanding is when you look at not just lesbian relationships, but you compare homosexual versus heterosexual relationships, so including gay men, you have two men, and I assume your position is men violent. You have two men in a relationship. Those relationships, actually, interestingly enough, are the least violent when there's two men in the relationship. Then you have heterosexual relationships in the middle, and then the most violent relationships are when you have two women.
And
how would you explain that?
Well, I can explain it if they don't know. So women, there's a couple things going on. Men growing up have to do rough and tumble play with each other. They play sports, they play contact sports. They very quickly learn how easy it is to hurt somebody, and that they're strong and that they can hurt somebody and that they've got to get that under control. Women don't really experience that as much, so that's one thing. The second thing is, this is actually proof of women being so safe and comfortable with men that they feel totally safe attacking them in domestic situations. The woman is not really scared he's going to do anything back. She knows she's legally probably going to get away with it, and that he really doesn't want to hurt her, and because he could. So women must feel very comfortable attacking men in romantic relationships if the rate is 70% of them, of the aggressors, are women. So I don't know if I buy this narrative that women are just so terrified of men because they're so violent towards us and they're just waiting for any chance to.
That's not what I'm trying. I think everyone should not hate each other. No one should be shooting each other.
I think we all
overall,
agree.
Like, I just want peaceful unity. I don't think.
Yeah, violence.
I don't think
bad.
It matters who's.
So it sounds like we changed your mind.
I never was on the standpoint of men are abusive, men are bad.
Yes, you were.
I was on the standpoint of men are. I thought, if you're saying that statistic is correct, which I'll believe you if that is, I'll look it up later when I'm home and see if there's anything more current, but I'm just saying that, like, violence overall is bad. It doesn't matter.
I'm going to the restroom and I'm going to do it like this because you're walking it back right now. So I'm going to
I changed the angle.